This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you are the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Teach, Sleep, Repeat. My name is Dylan.
And my name is Hayden.
And I paused for a second because I thought, you might not even be in school now.
You
might have finished for the year. You may be completely done.
Yeah.
And if you're not, I hope this is a small consolation that you can listen to us talk about absolute educational nonsense for a while.
Yes, absolute educational nonsense. I thought you just forgot your name. That's why you paused.
Oh, my name is...
Oh, I've only done this 206 times before. Oh.
Yeah. Well, my name ever.
So, yeah.
I only say my name.
That's true.
At the start.
It is true. It's a stage name, isn't it? It's not your real name.
My real name is Mr. Whisper Gold. Now, first question. By the way, you can join the WhatsApp community down below, which is where we put the link to get all of these questions. Thank you so much for your contributions. We have loads very much set for the next few weeks, that's for sure. Hayden, I'm going to start off a question that is directed to you.
Wow, what a surprise.
I know, right?
What come for.
You're going to have to talk for a bit. It's crazy. This is from Izzy. I want to hear from Hayden about doing the Year 6 play. What's it like? How much work goes into it? Are other subjects still taught? Do you all go into West End mode?
Christ, I mean, West End mode.
Firstly, give me your jazz hands, please.
Yeah, okay, jazz hands. If you're watching, that was a treat. West End mode is definitely a thing. You do absolutely just go fully into the mode of there's a lot to do with a play. Like it's not like it just replaces your geography lessons and then all geography's coming up, we're just going to go into play mode. Like there's a lot around it. Do you know what I mean? Like the kids have to learn their lines. You have to obviously direct it. There's a lot of production that goes into. Someone's got to make the set. You've actually got to do rehearsals of different scenes and then put the scenes together. And as always, children don't learn their lines and it's really annoying. And then you've got to try and manage that. And on the last day, they just about manage it. It's a crazy experience, but like...
It always comes together, doesn't it?
It always comes together somehow.
It's quite impressive, I think, because there's someone who has not worked in Year 6, but always like the whole school go and watch the production.
Yeah.
I am always kind of in awe about and how the children seem to put out the bag, because all I hear for weeks before are Year 6 teachers moaning, oh, these kids don't learn their lines, these kids are
true.
these kids don't. It's so annoying not having to plan anything English and maths anymore and having to do a play and then go to the field all afternoon. Oh, woe is me, I'm a Year 6 teacher after SATs, my life is so hard.
I mean, that answers part of the question there. When this might be different in different schools, I'm sure, but like are other subjects still taught? I mean, a bit, but it always gets to the point where it's like, oh shit, we need way more time. The production's in a week, so cancel everything because we literally can't do it if they don't know how to do it. So
I'm going to just go off on a very slight tangent quickly here on exactly what you've just said there.
Yeah,
because we had someone message us about they're in Year 6, they're doing a production right now, and I'm wondering where you land on this because it's very interesting that from the top down they've been told you have to continue to do English and maths every single day. And obviously you have PPA one afternoon and there was another afternoon where someone comes in and does something with the children, or it's like a set thing that has to happen, or maybe it was because they do RE in their school and they've got to do RE, something like that.
Right.
But essentially the point was that left 3 afternoons a week only when they could practice the rehearsal, and the Year 6 staff were saying, okay, this is way less than what we've had previously.
Yeah.
I promise you, because we've done this for a few years now, this is not enough time to get to the standard that we have done previously, because it means it was something like they had 7 sessions to practice this from the start to the end, right? Genuinely. No. So anyone who's done this before will know that's crazy. And they were basically just saying to them, like, you have to give something here, whether that is the fact that you understand this won't be very good, or you need to give us some more time to do it. But that would become basically at the point of you're going to lose some English and maths.
Yeah, of course it would.
So my point to you is just, you know, we talk about the importance of continuing to do English and maths still throughout. But I also think it's really important children get a chance to do these things like the arts that they don't get otherwise.
It's a weird one because I do, and basically any other situation, I'm like, we should really just be prioritizing normality in terms of English and maths and curriculum and not thinking, the SATs are done, so we should stop doing it. But in this situation, it's hard because it is a very, very, maybe it's a British thing, I don't know, but like everyone expects like year 6 you do a production, and not all schools do. But I do think with that, you have to accept that there is a sacrifice. It takes a long time to prepare a production. It has to come from somewhere. Like we can't pretend it's not going to eat out of something.
And kids don't do it. Like they're not used to it. Sorry,
exactly.
It's like they do English and maths all the time. Like we're doing a new lesson, they're used to it. They know routines. This is completely new.
Yeah, 100%. So one of two things has to happen. If you're down the route of we want the production, but we also don't want to be losing English and maths, or at least like preserving the vast majority of it, then you have to accept that. Okay, then it's going to come out of your afternoon curriculum, and because you're not taking from English and maths, if that's in the morning, you need to start a month before. Right. So now actually it's not just a bit of your afternoon curriculum. It's 2 months of your afternoon curriculum you're not doing anymore because you need that long of a runway now to do it all in the afternoon. Whereas if you just do it in the mornings, like for us, our typical turnaround was like 3 to 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Like it was quite, but we really went all in. There would be the odd other lessons still dotted in, but the vast majority of the day for that whole time was let's do show prep.
Okay, that's interesting. So what about, did you need all of the children all of the time though? Because surely, like what happened in terms of, you've got, I know in our year group we had about 100 children, free-form entry.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wouldn't have 100 children in the hall all day for 3.5 weeks. So, like, what are those kids doing when they're not in the hall? Do you still have lessons? I know we do something like lap books where they're doing projects and things. That's still the core curriculum. But do they do English and maths?
I'll run you through it. So, a little bit. Like, this is where the school can genuinely choose to do what to do.
No, but I'm interested in exactly what you do.
Okay, exactly. It's exactly what we did in our last school for a couple of years. And again, this is so interchangeable. Like, you really could just take what I'm saying and replace it with English. Sure, it's fine. We did this. The baseline was we prepared lessons all day and we did it really project-based. So we did we took like history topics and geography topics and all the other afternoon subjects, and we were like, let's make it a bit more fun, a bit more project based. They made these things called lap books, which was like you do a lot of their own research, and it's really fun, to be fair. Like it's like I said, it's projects, and the idea is that's the kind of base. Because obviously, most of the time, you don't even need the majority of children.
That's what,
Most children have a couple of lines, if not like one line or none. And some children, if they got a bit more of a main part, there's so many main parts you can give, they'll need to be out a lot more often. Or like dancers will be doing certain things, they need to come out but doing their rehearsals. But the idea was, anytime they're not doing that, they're in the lesson working on their projects. And the reason we kept it a bit more project-based and open and loose is the idea that this has to be fluid. We can't be doing like rigid English and maths lessons where like we have a sequence of learning over a week and we've got kids coming in and out all the time, and like it was way too hard to manage.
Just like afternoon lessons all year, apart from that,
right? Exactly. We're like, what's the one lesson we already do this in and take kids out all the time? So that was the best like conclusion that we landed on, which was okay. Here's our kind of base learning, and it was equally fun because some kids just didn't even do the production at all. Like not every kid wants to do the production.
Oh, through choice.
Through choice, yeah. We'd never say you can't do it.
No. You'd encourage it, right? But not. You'd encourage it in terms of it's a good experience, but if they really don't want to.
Exactly that. Yeah, we really try to get everyone involved, and there's enough parts that everyone can get involved if they want to, even if it is just like, okay, you don't want to be on stage, you want to do the lighting. We always got kids to do every role. Like we'd have a couple of kids at the computer,
the music and stuff,
dealing with the music, or if there was like an interactive background, they'd be doing the slides or designing it. We'd have kids making the props. Yeah, kids literally painting the backdrops. Kids on the lighting. It was really lovely. I
remember some kids would come up and they'd like to be moving props around, like stage hands.
Yeah, we had stage hands who were like they wanted to be involved in the production, but they didn't want to do like any speaking lines or dancing, like anything like that.
So my impression I'm getting from this is that it's quite a fluid process,
very much,
and it's depending on school to school. And it seems to me like it's the external factors of people from the top down saying what you can and can't do, which is really going to basically determine what it looks like for you and your school, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Now, the interesting part, the last part of this question we've not really answered, and probably want to jump in, is the workload that goes behind this. Is it a lot of work? For me personally, I've always tended to take the role of, I'll sit back and stay in the classroom and deliver the kind of lap book lessons and the projects and things whilst you, head of year, or somebody else, or a couple of people, because we had quite a big, four teachers in the year, whilst you two go and run the production. Bit of a cop out because the workload that goes into the production is significantly more than the workload that went into me planning a bunch of project lessons that we could do with the rest of the kids. So,
well, someone's got to do the project.
Someone's got to do it. I'm just, I thought you'd be jumping on this.
No.
In the fact that I got the easy ride, but I did. I don't want to pretend I did. I don't want to pretend like, oh yeah, it was hard for me because I had the kids. It was so fluid.
It wasn't.
No, doing the project work was a breeze.
Yeah.
The teacher that was our head of year that always did it, to be fair, but it might be different in other schools. The teacher who was actually in charge of the production worked so much outside of work hours, and genuinely, if they didn't, the production wouldn't exist. It's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, they could have done it differently. That was such a martyr. No, the production existed because they went home and spent hours and hours and hours every single evening plotting out how they're going to get 100 kids choreographed to do this thing, and all these different groups of children, like I've just mentioned, doing different roles. All of those, they all needs to be organized by someone.
When they practice and who's practicing with them.
Exactly. And the vision of the play, like someone has to have in their mind mapped out the entirety of the play, of what it looks like, what each scene looks like, what props we need, what kids are on stage, doing what, saying what, directing it. It's an enormous, enormous slog. And I feel like most schools tend to find someone who's like really into that, like the dramatics and things. And they'll take it on, but I'm not going to pretend like it's not a burden.
No.
It is an enormous job and workload on someone or a couple of people, even if they share it, which they normally do.
I think that's the important thing to talk about here. Again, because what we're not saying is it's massive workload, therefore it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But we're also not saying it's massive workload, but everyone needs to do it.
Yeah.
There has to be this middle ground of, it's so nice for it to exist. You are banking on a volunteer role, essentially, of you're going to take it on and do loads of extra work to do it, and thank you so much. The middle ground is to, if you're going to do that, not pretend it's not huge. And if it is a volunteer role and that person's volunteering to do it, then they should still get their flowers. Do you know what I mean? They should still
100%.
get... Just because you volunteer doesn't mean you then, you volunteer, you're choosing to do it. I'm not going to leave anything. No, of course not. Yeah. It's an amazing thing to do for the children.
And there were some things the school could do to mitigate it, at least a little bit, like tokenomics almost at this point.
Well, year 6 don't do anything off stats.
Certainly if you're the teacher who's but the teacher doing the production, it would be horribly unfair if we then shared the planning with them.
Right,
but things like that, where it's like, obviously they're not going to get involved in any planning or any marking for this entirety of this process, because that's because their workloads are taken up by this other thing. That's one thing you can do just to help a little bit. Secondly, I don't see what a problem in like giving that teacher some time in lieu. If I was a head teacher and I could see this was actually genuinely a ridiculous burden, I feel like the least you could do is be like, look, if it was a residential and someone was doing this, the amount of work you're doing, I'd obviously give some time in lieu. So
I don't think that's obvious.
In my situation, but like, I think there are things schools can do to at least try to be like, look, I'm really, really genuinely thankful for this. I know I can't perfectly account for your time, but please make sure X, Y, and Z are happening, and here's some time in lieu to make up for it for a bit. Amazing stuff,
Interesting.
Because it is great. It is a great thing for the kids. But a lot of schools don't do it now.
Really,
like, I've seen it just from, I guess maybe just trends online, just seeing it. I've noticed that. And maybe it's just people online being more prevalent. I don't know. It's always been this way. But it seems like way more schools are going down the route of, this is unmanageable. We're just not doing a performance anymore.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases. Unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online. And a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business. You'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
It's sad.
Yeah,
it is sad. And it does kind of lead on to this next question. So I think we should move on to it now.
This episode is brought to you by Mathszoo.
Here's the daily reality for most primary school teachers. You want your class doing focused arithmetic practice every single day. But finding the exact arithmetic questions at the right year group level, at the exact right small step, eats into time you simply don't have.
You end up cobbling sheets together, photocopying old ones, or rewriting questions on the board. So we built something to fix that, and it's completely free for school staff to use.
It's the Mathszoo worksheet generator, where we have mapped out every single small step for arithmetic from year 1 all the way up to year 6. Click into any topic, drill down into a specific small step, and generate as many questions as you want. And no, it's not AI.
And because it's so granular, you can plug exact gaps, exchanging across different digits, adding fractions with different denominators, or denominators that are the same. It's all there.
Choose however many questions you'd like, print the worksheet off for your class to complete, or simply snip it onto your whiteboard for daily arithmetic practice.
The whole thing takes seconds, and like I said, completely free for school staff. Just click the link in the description below and get using it with your class tomorrow.
What are your views on school trips? Who chooses them? Should there be set trips or should they change? How should they be funded? How much? I said question. I'm an 8.
Yeah.
How much should we ask parents for? How many? I've never understood setting trips across the whole school experience. It might take 7 years for 1 year group to get everything. Lots of things can change. I think a varied experience is good depending on your location, visiting the beach, castles, theatres, farm, whatever's near you. For example, lots of schools in London go to the House of Parliament.
Yeah.
I really struggle with this because again, it's very similar. It's very, very similar to the end of year show, where I don't think anyone can possibly sit here and say it's bad for the kids. It's really good for the kids, but we can't pretend it's not a huge burden on the staff and extra and loads more time. It's the same for trips. It's so easy, and this is what frustrated me about recent government pushing of trips. It's so easy for people in Whitehall and up in the Department for Education to sit there in their lovely air-conditioned offices and going, we should be doing more for the kids. We should be doing more enrichment for the children. Why aren't these bloody schools doing more enrichment for these kids? Do you want me to list the reasons why? Because it's certainly not that we just can't be asked. It's because of so many different things, like having to do risk assessments, having to organise it, having to get in touch with the places, having to literally plan it.
The coach company's prices tripled this year.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no, but we should be giving enrichment. We should be giving enrichment. Right, exactly. Yeah, there's a cost of living crisis going on.
School can pay for it. Can they?
Right.
Can they pay for it?
So this is what I mean. The whole thing, there's loads of things, and we don't even need to really go into them. We all understand, anyone listening to this understands the effort that goes into a single school trip. That annoys me when people are in the suits at the top say, we need to do more. Oh, off. I know it would be really good to do more for these kids. I would bloody love to do that, but it doesn't really help me when you sit there going, go on, then do it.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating. I think trips are amazing.
Maybe we can talk about just some, because we've worked in schools, maybe we can talk about some of the systems that work. Because I certainly can think of a school I've worked in where I thought the school trip system was a bit of a burden on like a particular, all the workload fell on one person. I can think of another school where I felt like it was at least a bit more fair. So maybe we can talk about that. But like, I'm going to start with the good one, to be fair. So in one of the schools I worked at, we had a good system in place where it was like, we had like a business manager. I don't know what that wasn't a business manager. It was that kind of role. It was like office staff.
Someone in the office,
but they had a very specific role. But anyway.
And part of their role was designed for this, right? It was
part of
it wasn't just, well, teachers are fine, so it's all good, and ends up being lumped on someone else.
Exactly that. It was a very hybrid role, but like one of their main things was, if it was anything to do with money, that was the person you went to. Anything like accounts management, they were the business person for the school, I guess.
A bursar?
Bursar, that might be it. That might be it. School bursar. And but I had bursars in other schools, and this wasn't the thing.
Right,
which made me think, okay, this is clearly a
but
system. But
part of their role was literally given to...
Right, so part of the role was, if either teacher or the team, whoever had decided that a trip would be a good idea for this class, and maybe we should go here, that'd be cool. We're going to do it. For example, we did a local trip to Ramsgate Tunnels.
Yeah, it's only the 10th time you've mentioned this.
Yeah, it's because Ramsgate Tunnels is great. Right, shut up. And but the point is, the system was, I was thinking, oh Christ, I'm going to have to go and do a recce, a risk assessment, get it all quoted up, talk to the people, make the letter, deliver it to the parents, get all the money, and I did the whole process. It turns out, it's like, no. You just go to the bursar. You say, I just filled in a sheet. This is the trip I want to do. I had to do minimal. I spent like 10 minutes researching it. This is the website. I've got their contact number from it. I want to take the year 6 class. There's 25 of us. It wasn't us. 30 of us. And I just gave it to her, and then she did the research and paid for it and did all the stuff and made the letter and gave the letter to me to give out to the parents. And just even a little bit of collaboration like that, I was like, oh, this is manageable. I did the most trips I've ever done in my life that year because it was way easier to manage. Yeah,
and the poor person who was organising it was burnt out. Absolutely right. But it's all right because Hayden felt good.
No, because we both did it. We shared it out a bit. It just made it more manageable.
She did. That's the power of building it into a role for a school.
Yeah.
And I do understand it. This is where the government, they're saying this thing because what they see is some schools are doing really good enrichment for their children and some schools aren't.
Yeah.
So there is obviously some wiggle room as to systems like this or allocating funds somehow where possible to something like that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's so simplistic to think when you look at schools and the ecosystem of schools and the funding of schools and the budgets of schools, it is not consistent. We've got this issue from the top down that they see data on paper and they go, cool, we can extrapolate.
Yeah.
Part of the 3.5% for teachers, their pay rise that's been announced, they have said 1% you have to find from school budgets, implying that 2.5% was funded from the government. No. 1.8% is funded from the budget, or roughly around that amount. Yeah, and then there's an extra bunch of money, which is like, it works out to be something like 0.8%, right? So 1.7, that was it. It was 1.7 or 8% is going to be given extra to schools.
Yeah.
1% they've already said you're going to have to find, but that doesn't add up to 3.5.
No.
That leaves still 0.8% more. And they have said, it's okay because we know from national data there's 0.8% wiggle room already in budgets that you can account for this.
They didn't even put it in. They're so cheeky.
They didn't put it in because they're saying you need to find 1%, ignoring the fact they also need to find 0.8%, but they're just assuming. Yeah. And this is why it's crazy, right? Because the assumption is, well, finding the 0.8% is easy because that's the headroom. So they're saying the 1% is fully, not just when people say, "Oh, well, heads have accounted for this, so it should be all right." No, they've already put that in their working out. So that 1% they're saying you need to find is literally wholly, completely coming from your provision you've already got for your kids. And the issue is that 0.8% is an average. So it's basically saying if you don't have that 0.8% in your, then more than 1%, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.8% even will maybe have to come completely from the provision for your kids. So at the same time we're seeing that happen, we've also got the government saying, and do more enrichment for the children. Off. Yeah. You are so disingenuous. It winds me up so much because it is so simplistic and paint schools in the light of you're not doing enough for the kids when you're not doing enough for us. And that directly links to us not being able to do enough for the kids, not because we don't want to or because we're making bad choices.
You're so right, because I never thought of it that way. But the fact that they've identified and split the 0.8% with the extra 1 is just them saying, oh, we know that on average you can't afford this extra 1%, but we're going to do it anyway. They could have at least, okay, there's two trains of thought here. They could have said, schools need to find 1.8%. Some of that can come from the wiggle room that we know exists in schools. At least that wording would have been a bit more genuine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is still 1.8% though. And we just know there's some wiggle room in schools.
And some more, some less, but the average is at 0.8.
Or if they cared, like you said, that's in the same light saying do enrichment, then it should have been, look, at the very least, it's going to be, schools need to find 0.8% because on average, that's what we believe is the wiggle room, but we don't want to put any more extra burden on that. If they'd done that, do you think they could have still had an argument to say, and we want some enrichment? Or do you still think that even that is just like, you can't be saying schools have got to use their last bit of wiggle room and saying they need to enrich more?
I think it's just fundamentally flawed. And I think, again, it to me just screams that it's based in saying things to pit teachers against parents again. Yeah. Because if parents read that and they go, yeah, my school's not doing enough enrichment, and they don't really understand the ins and outs of it, and at the same time they're not being completely transparent about what they're talking about with funding, it's only to stoke this idea of schools can do more. Yeah, schools can do more, please, more enrichment, please. What do you mean we can do more? What are you talking about? You're the arbiter of how much we can do by how much money you give us. Stop pushing the responsibility onto schools when the responsibility lies with you, the person who's funding it. It winds me up. We see this all the time. We saw it for years and years under Conservatives, and we're still seeing it under Labour, where we're pushing this kind of burden onto these local authorities to say, okay, you're in charge of this stuff, or pushing the burden onto private entities in terms of academies, like, you're in charge of this now, please do it well, and saying, you're in charge of your money, you spend it where you want, here's your money, and not giving them enough money, and then being able to say, well, you're spending it wrong. Yeah, it's this idea of, well, you're spending the money wrong. That's what you're not doing enrichment. No, it's not us. No, it is you. You need to give more money. If you want more things to happen in school, you need to pay for it. It's as simple as that. Are there some inefficiencies in some schools? Yeah, but it's such a weak political argument to say, whenever anyone says anything about how you're funding this, well, we're going to find some inefficiencies in this and that. No, you're not. Inefficiencies are a human nature. When humans run things, there are going to be some things you can change, sure, but banking everything on that, it's just outrageous.
Yeah. Also, forever. Yeah. It doesn't even make sense as an ideological thing. Even in a perfect world, like, there's only so many times you can find inefficiencies. They'll eventually get to the point where you've found them all. Like, it just doesn't even make sense to me. Like, you can't for 100 years in a row find inefficiencies that gives you more money than you had the previous year. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's crazy because there are some things that it would lower your recurring costs, and it would do that.
Like, forever?
That's what I mean. But next year we would have spent 800 on it, but we found inefficiencies. Now we're spending 500 on it. Yeah. Next year we would have spent 800, but now we're spending 500. It still gives that leeway every year. Right, if your recurring costs are lower, but there are some individual stuff as well. Yeah. And I just think when you're adding things in, this is what I mean. Like, the only reason, if you're looking at enrichment, you're thinking, wow, it's really dipped over these last 15 years. There's only one reason for it. It's not because we suddenly thought, these trips are crap.
Yeah. No. Kids don't like these.
Yeah, no one thought that. Yeah. No one thought that. They looked at the cost of fuel going through the roof, and therefore the coach companies going through the roof. And it's just outrageous to say to schools, basically, do this, please. It's honestly outrageous. It's like going out. It's like going to a building site when they're in the middle of building a building, right? And saying to them, can you get this building done, please? I'd appreciate it if you do it. And you're like, yeah, I'm waiting for you to give me the bricks to finish it. What do you mean, can I finish? I'd love to finish it.
I've given you the bricks and they've given you half.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like, well, can you finish it, please? I think it would be really good if you could finish this building.
Find some inefficiencies and use those bricks.
Right.
I literally can't.
Yeah, exactly. I just think unless you're giving people the tools to do something with, stop telling them to do it, you idiot.
Yeah.
What are you talking? It makes no sense whatsoever. It's crazy. It winds me up.
And I wonder how much. Like, this obviously places a big burden, like you said, on local authorities. It places a big burden on schools, trust. It ultimately drips down to the head teachers, the senior leadership team, the teachers, the TAs, the staff, right?
Yep.
I wonder how many teachers, like, how much of an impact it had on how they quit. So I reckon, I'm just thinking, right? There was I can think of an example in year 6 last year, which was my final year of teaching, funny enough, where a child said something along I can't remember the exact quote, but something on the lines of, when we went on a trip, they were like, "Oh, no way, I haven't been on a trip since year 3 or something like that," and I was like, heartbroken in that moment. And it's like that. It's just the whole thing. There's so many elements of teaching where you feel like you're failing the kids and you can't even do anything about it. And that is another one of them. Trips, enrichment. So, oh man, like I felt so bad, and as if I could have done something. I couldn't. Nothing I could do. Nothing I could have done in that situation. Also, failing kids with complex SEND needs. Another huge thing that happens as well across schools. And teachers and schools are left thinking, oh my god, like I literally can't. I can't meet the needs of these children without the money to get the people to help me or the services to help me. Like, I can't do it. We can't be everything. Yeah.
And it's just another thing to add to that list, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you get people who are essentially your bosses and are funding you, saying you're not doing enough.
It's painful. And people quit because of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have had a percentage impact in my brain that all built up, all these little things built up to me eventually going, I don't think I can work here anymore. I can't think, or I can work in the system anymore. You know? I don't know.
It's really sad. It's really sad.
Very.
Let's do another question.
Moving on.
What is something you cared deeply about as an NQT, which is an ECT for people who aren't old like us, but later in your career you realised it added all to the lessons or your teacher practice? I love how we're slowly, through us maybe being more liberal with our language, the questions are becoming more...
Dylan being more liberal. It was perfect that you read it.
I think I just told the government to off a minute ago.
Yeah, that is quite funny. That's been written in. Right, something cared deeply about... probably loads of things. The only thing that always comes to mind, because I feel like I've been asked this before, is my obsession. It seems so dumb. My obsession with trimming sheets. Because I always used to put a border on stuff, so that there was no white bit outside of the border. Like it had to be trimmed so perfectly that the last bit was ink to the edge of my trimming. And if there was a silly little, like even a millimeter of white around it, I was like, oh god! If someone else trimmed it for me, I would. And I could see they left a little bit of white where they just quite quickly, probably, just to make sure it fits in the book.
Normal.
The normal thing is we're trimming it just so it fits in the book. That's
on a white piece of paper where you can't really see the trimming.
Right. And then I would take it and go and retrim it.
Oh, that's sad.
What was I doing?
You
should have seen my trimming by the end. It was just like, does it fit in the book? Yes, I don't care what it looks like. And then I see people, Mr. Firth did a reel the other day about the best thing ever in school. I think it was probably a couple of weeks ago now, and it was like the giant books, the ones that are a bit bigger than A4.
Yeah.
So you don't have to trim anything; you just stick them straight in. And I was like, oh my god, yes, like that would have been a game changer in my career. The amount of time I spent trimming.
I don't think it would have though, because if at the start of your career you'd still think there's a bit of a white border on here.
Probably, yeah, that's true.
I don't care if the book's big enough or not.
Very true. I would not have been comfortable with
these
an
ones you gave me still fit, but I still don't like them very much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd go for with that? Is linked to what you said. You made me think of it there. Is over planning in like massively, hugely in a way which is like, to me, it's just symbolic tick boxy.
Yeah.
You mentioned about how you'd always put a border around your sheets, right? I remember the border I'd put around the sheets, and maybe this was like a school-wide thing. I don't know if this was just us. Maybe this was like told to us we had to do it because there were some ridiculously draconian rules at that school when we started. But like, so we'd have to differentiate sheets 3 ways.
Yep.
So it'd have to be a choice, and the children would choose, which are just. I don't care what bit of research you're showing me. I noticed that the kid who should not be doing the really hard maths is choosing the hard maths straight away every day. And but funny enough, I'm the professional and I know you shouldn't be doing that right now. Yeah. Anyway, that aside, that's another can of worms for the future, maybe. I was doing a coloured border that matched my levels in my head. So let's just say it was like purple, blue, green, whatever.
Yeah.
And in my head, like purple was the one where it was maybe some questions that were designed to be easier accessible for most children in the class. And then maybe blue was like children who are kind of already got an idea of what they're doing, but maybe want a bit of a challenge as well. They're going to do the blue sheet. And then the green sheet is for the children who get it already. They really want to push themselves on. That whole thing, we could talk about how that's just a nonsense in general. But I would spend so much time planning meticulously in terms of how it looked, the aesthetics of how it looks.
Same.
It has to look like this color, so it's really obvious to me that this is this, and this. And I would extrapolate that out to just aesthetics in general. Way overhyped. Like you just don't have time for that kind of stuff.
This episode is brought to you by Workday. Guessing is for game shows, not your business, especially when your margin for error is 0. Workday is the enterprise AI platform for HR, finance, and IT, with a deep understanding of your organization's context and guardrails. So every AI action is permission aware, giving you accuracy 24/7 and the ability to not just get work done, but get it done right. It's a new Workday.
If you want all of your data in one place, you need the Intuit ERP. I'm Damon John, and I run my growing business on Intuit Enterprise Suite. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that went in my career. I think it's probably the school we worked in because they were really hot on aesthetics, to be fair. Like the books did need to look like perfect, didn't they? And it was about the look, genuinely.
Yeah.
But I think the sad thing is that the only things I think, the legitimate things you can pull from that is when it comes to aesthetics, I do get it though when someone says in a maths bit of like, oh, they've not used their ruler properly.
That's different.
And they're not using the boxes.
That's different.
Because like aesthetically, it doesn't look nice when a child isn't
it's not
using the boxes properly.
That, is it?
Yeah, it's not because I want it to look aesthetic. It's for different reasons. So when it's side by side of that sheet doesn't look aesthetically nice and the way it's been stuck in doesn't look good versus the child not using a ruler properly and a pencil, I'm like, they are different things. Completely. And they very much just got banded as the same thing. It's like the books just need to look nice or not.
Completely.
And
and if I don't pick up these books and think it looks like an enjoyable thing to flick through, then it's bad. Complete and utter nonsense. Especially we led maths for however long, right? Some of my favorite lessons to look at and best maths work that I'm so proud of the children was some of the most scruffiest work I've ever seen, because that's the process of doing maths. Do you know what? Oh no, you can't cross it out like this. Oh, they can.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care because it's the process. I want to see them doing maths. I try to scribble things out all the time. There are some moments like when you're doing your work and you want it to be definitely like 1 digit per box was important. Why?
Or like a table
it looks
or something.
good? Is it because it looks nice? No, it's because it's easy to read. And when you're checking your work, it's easier to see what's going on. So I get all of that.
And lining up place value columns in maths is essential.
Exactly.
So it helps children do that. There's loads of reasons.
But the overall point is like, I didn't fundamentally just think, is it aesthetic and therefore good? I used to when I was an NQT.
Yeah.
But I learned, and this is answering the question that I just don't care about now, is I don't care about aesthetics for aesthetics' sake. If I'm ever picking up someone's aesthetics, it's because I want their handwriting to be legible. It's because I want to be able to see what their process was or their thinking. But if we're doing like some starter work and they're just doing maybe some trial and improvement, it can look like they don't care. I don't care. It's the process of them doing it, which is what has unlocked and improved them. What they end up having on their paper is genuinely irrelevant. Like, sure, it might help me check something, but the actual process of it happening, it could be on a whiteboard, it could be on a scrap bit of paper, it could be wherever. It doesn't change the actual learning that happened.
Do you think there's something to be said for the argument that's like, it's also about pride, though, getting kids to take pride in their work, and that alone can be a reason to make it look nice. Same way, like making your bed in the morning. It's just about self-regulation, pride.
To be fair, I actually really agree with that. And if you're on like a day-to-day lesson and you're doing your work properly and you're onto your task, I think you should put pride into your work.
Yeah.
And I've said to children countless times, like, there is actually no need for you to be messy here. Right, there's no need for this because it's just careless. And you can just make sure you could just choose to not be. I'm talking specifically about I don't automatically see some scruffy work and think bad. If it's the situation or the environment where that scruffy work actually didn't matter because it wasn't for anyone. It wasn't, oh, my teacher's going to check my work and see how I got on at the end. It was just some scribbling out for a starter task we were just doing.
Fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, I'm like, I'm not going to have that battle with them.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something I got pulled up on once. I'm not going to give any more context other than just telling you what it is and see what you think.
Because it is nuanced very quickly. I think this is important.
It is nuanced, and I think this is an interesting nuance. I'll just see what you say because I think I know what you're on with. But so one time actually multiple times, but I remember it happening one time, is my maths books were looked at and someone just pointed out, it wasn't like that harsh, but I just pointed out the fact that this one kid, even though they were using a digit per box, doing all the correct working out using the formal method. I think it was column additional subtraction or something like that. But they started from really random points away from the margin. So sometimes like their question was like 1 box in from the margin, and then when they put their like subtraction sign, it kind of went into the margin. Other times it was like 6 boxes in. So it looked like a really disjointed in terms of like left and right.
Yeah.
But they were like, ultimately, if you just took the question itself, they were ultimately laying it out properly, doing it right, doing everything we wanted them to do. They were just like a bit uneasy in like terms of like how far in from the margin they start. And they really like they made a point of that, being like, oh, don't do
you
that.
Didn't do it.
Don't do that.
You didn't do it.
You need to pull the kids up on this, basically.
Yeah.
And I always found it really interesting because I was like, to me, half me was like, well, yeah, like if it does kind of make sense, like if they can choose to do that or just choose to do it the way that looks nice. So obviously, I'll just get them to just do it the way that look. Why would you? I would just say to them, could you just count 2 boxes in each time and start from there? Like, why are you doing this? But the other part of me was like, who gives a f? The kid just why? As if I'm gonna pull any negativity out to this kid. Genuinely, like, I'm going to make a negative point. But they did bloody brilliant in this task, and they tried really hard, and they used the 4 methods, and they weren't scruffy and like writing it sideways. But we're saying that this one thing is too scruffy. I don't know. I was really torn. I didn't know what to do.
My opinion on that is it's quite simple. I don't think this needs to be not straightforward. As the teacher with the child, I absolutely think you could mention it in a very positive way, and you could say, "Oh, you notice that you're starting in really random places. Like, what? Why? That's interesting. What are you doing? It doesn't have to be. Don't do that right now. It can just be. Have you noticed you start here, there, and there, and you go into the margin?
Have you tried counting a couple of boxes?
Do you think there's a way that we could make that more consistent and like be more clear for you to have save a bit of space and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Right. So that I think is not a bad thing to bring up to the kid from teacher to pupil. Right.
Sure.
What is absolutely mental is if a leadership person pointing out to a teacher as if to say that's bad for the teacher, right? Don't mention it. Like, I just think it matters. Oh, you could pick the kids up on that. Yeah, I could also wear blue tomorrow. What the has it got to do with you?
It's
like,
so low stakes.
That's what I mean.
Like, why are you having an opinion on this?
That's what exactly that. The
What's
opinion,
the teaching, all right?
Yeah, the opinion from leader to teacher on that, it goes way below the bar of what's worth picking up.
Yeah.
But I do think from teacher to pupil, it is something I'd say to them.
Sure.
I would bring up to them, be like, and just say, look, there is a way to make this look even neater. And it's easier then to follow your eye down what you've been doing. And then you can save space by not wasting space over there. We can have a margin now and save paper and talk about all those kinds of things. Crazy, though. If it was remotely framed as like a next step for you, that's like you're picking at what I was going to say, picking at straws. Is that the right saying? Picking at hay bale.
Picking at needles in haystacks.
Yeah, exactly. You're picking at a pig flying over the moon.
Side note though, isn't it funny how many kids in your career, when they do any kind of column method, they always start the first digit in the very first box after the margin.
Why wouldn't they?
And consistently find if their answer goes into the next space of the value column, they're squeezing into the margin. You just get all this work of like, just like a digit or two going into the margin. I'd always be like, at what point will they notice that they could just start? I won't tell them.
Yeah, we made it such a thing in our classroom. It was just like, still obviously kids didn't do it, but it was like move in and then start there.
Start a couple of boxes. There's nothing wrong with that, like you said. Even if it does fall
do
down the line of just to be proud of your work. It looks nicer.
Yeah,
it looks nice for the sake of it.
I think this is again the thing people can very easily do when they hear us talk about anything. Just extrapolate out to the worst possible version of it. Oh, therefore you don't care about and have no pride in your work. That's obviously not also what I'm saying. Can you please think about it for more than 3 seconds? Yeah. Just because I'm saying you shouldn't make it the worst issue in the world is also not me saying therefore it doesn't matter ever in the world. What I'm saying is there's just nuance to stuff. Yeah. Like you can have pride in your work, of course you can, but I just don't think it's the end of the world. It's not on the same stratosphere as them not doing 1 digit per box. I think you summed it up perfectly. An incredibly nicely trimmed sheet that fits perfectly, like 90-degree angles in the book that's stuck in nicely, compared to one that's wonky, is far less important than are they lining up their place value digits properly in their maths columns.
Exactly.
That's fundamentally to do with the understanding of the number.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Shut up. Got another question. This one's from Mrs. B. Why do so many teachers love PPA from home? I personally hate it, and we only have it twice a term.
Interesting. I think it's quite clear why people have very split opinions on it. Like just straight up, my opinion on PPA from home is that it should be optional. So that's the point.
Not
always
enforced.
It's not PPA from home. Get out of here.
Go away.
It's like you have PPA, and at any point, not just twice a term like this person, at any point, any week, You can choose to do it at school or you can choose to do it at home.
Yeah.
Because I think there are pros and cons. And I actually think, based on the jobs I wanted to get done in that PPA, I'd like the choice, because there are some jobs where I'm like, do you know what? It's so much more inefficient for me to go home and do this. The things I need to hear, I'm planning my DT day for next week. I need to get all my resources together. I literally can't do it from home. Whereas if I'm just maybe doing some planning that's tweaking stuff from last year, do you know what I might want to do? Go home, on the way back from home, go to the shop quickly because it's not very busy, and then work late. It's that flexibility, because then that's the work that can move around, whereas I can't really get the physical stuff ready. So I think the choice is important. But what do you think? Like, do you love? We never had it actually.
That's the thing. I've always been an advocate for it. I don't know why it gets so complex sometimes, because I think it really is as simple as give your teacher the choice. Crack on with it.
Well, we had an issue. This was really interesting, and our school won't mind us saying this, because some people pushed back on PPA from home. Because the point was, though, that because some people get PPA on Friday, it gives them a longer weekend.
Oh, was that the pushback?
Yeah.
I thought it was
No. Maybe
I'm thinking of another reason.
Maybe bring it everything. But that was something that was said, was like, it's not fair that someone gets their PPA from home every Tuesday, but someone else gets their PPA from home every Friday. I was someone who didn't have it on a Friday, and I couldn't have cared less if someone got their PPA.
Wasn't
on
it more to do with, though, that the person on Tuesday might be the staff meeting day? They have to come back.
It was also that.
Yeah,
but it was also the Friday thing. That's like another thing.
The Friday thing, I'm just like, that's mental. But the other one, I'm like, I do get it though. To be fair, if you're the one year group that has to have their PPA on the day where you have a staff meeting, you have to come back for it.
Yeah,
that does objectively suck compared to everybody else.
I think you just have to put something in place, which is either you can join virtually, or you do your PPA in a way throughout the week where there is a day where no one's got PPA. For example, I know it's much easier in a junior school. In a junior school, there's 4 year groups. However, it'd be interesting to know people with
What's a good point though?
Way more PPA slots. But there's four PPA days. So just do your PPA days on the 4 days that aren't the inset day.
That's doable. Even because I was thinking even in a through school, there's still 6 year groups or 7.
So you still have to have doubling up.
So it's still got to be doubling up. So
that's what I mean.
Just double up on. Just do it within a 4 day window rather than 5 for some reason.
Have one day where no one's got PPA, and that's the day you do your training. Like that's how you get around that. If that was an issue, like I just think there's ways around it. But anyway, the question itself about why do so many teachers love PPA from home, I think it's the flexibility. Like I think personally, the benefit from home would be 2 things mainly. One, you're not getting pestered constantly. If you're at home, you can't, as a cover teacher, go to the class teacher and say, "Oh, can I just have some help with this?" Like it would force them into saying, "Well, they're not even on the site, so I can't disrupt them. I can't go and sort this behavior issue out." Which also often happened in my PPA. Like, fair enough, maybe sometimes I did need to step in, but like leadership can. Do you know what I mean? Exactly, I'm not in the building. I don't have to do that. And the second thing is the freedom of flexibility of doing your work. As a teacher, we do lots of work in our own time anyway. So as soon as you get PPA from home, as a leader, I couldn't care less what you were doing in that time. You could go and find a gym class. I've said this a million times. It rubs some people up the wrong way, but I really, truly think this. You could find a gym class that's at 1 p.m. on your PPA day. And you could leave school, have your lunch, leave school, go to your gym class, get home at 2:30. And then the work you would have to do in your PPA needs to get done anyway and will get done anyway. And if for you that means, actually, I'm going to work from 7 till 9 one evening to replace that time I had, that's a good perk of the job.
Or whenever you want.
You're not doing less work. You're just being able to actually use that time more efficiently because that time is best placed in that gym class, which I can't get into otherwise.
It's really not that crazy.
Whereas I can do work whenever. But you've always said to me, you really dislike doing work in school.
I cannot. I have, in 10 years of teaching, I probably planned a lesson in school I could count on one hand.
That's crazy.
I absolutely hate doing like solo work in school. I have to be at home. I can't do it. I don't know.
So what would you do in PPA?
Always other stuff. It'd always just be like marking, printing stuff, like any other job I could do. I would never, ever, ever sit there and plan.
Because to be fair, if you were doing, let's say you're doing some marking in your PPA, it meant that day you could go home sooner.
Which is what I always did.
And then you do your planning at home.
Exactly.
So instead, you basically swap your planning.
I just moved my time around. Exactly. I did, but I would always, and a lot of teachers not like this. I'd say I'm probably in the minority. But I'm like, I have to plan from home. I can't be at school and planning. It's just too distracting. And even if I didn't get any distractions, the idea that at any point I'm about to be distracted was enough to put me off. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, I need to be at home where I can zone right in, knowing that nothing's possibly going to distract me. Because I'm in my own office and the door's closed or I'm sat down on the sofa, no one's in the house, whatever it is. And that's where I'd plan. So for me, PPA at home would have been a godsend because I would have actually gone home and done my planning rather than doing it on Sunday night every week or Saturday, whenever it was, which is the rhythm I got into was weekends.
But then you'd still have to do the marking you would have done in your PPA anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah.
So like you're not going to do your marking at home.
No,
so
you'd
have to spend your time in school elsewhere. But my point is, I don't think PPA from home means suddenly teachers just on a jolly.
Exactly.
That's the point.
It definitely doesn't. For
Everything
me,
still
it
needs
would
to
have been
happen.
great, and for other teachers, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, why do so many teachers love it? Honestly, for the reasons I just gave, is one of the reasons it could be. I would have loved it. And I personally hate it. This person said, I personally hate it. Remember twice. Cool, don't do that.
I think that's why it needs to be a choice.
Yeah, it has to be a choice. Don't just crack on, stay at school.
Cool.
And other people, the one last thing I'll say on it before we move on is one of the other pushbacks we had at our school was, we had quite big teams, had 4 teachers in per year group. They were saying, PPA is actually really, really useful when we all go to the same room and we actually get loads of stuff done together. And it's nice to have on tap the person in the room in your year group where you could just get lots of passive things done and
True.
And I was like, yeah, that's good. Which is why, again, it needs to be a choice and a discussion between you and your team.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, we're going to stick around for 30 minutes today. We've all agreed it'd be way more efficient if we just stick around and do this thing and then we can just do what we want.
We did it. We did that at the start of PPA for 10 minutes every time. It was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 10 minutes.
As a group where you're like,
So
right, what do we need us all for?
And there were some days where, let's just say it's PPA, and there were some occasions where maybe someone had booked an appointment because it's in PPA.
Yeah.
And it's easier when there's already cover to go and do that, right? But then we'd say, okay, at the start of lunch, we're going to meet for 10 minutes and then just go off and do what you want. Same thing you could do. If you have PPA from home, you could just do 10 minutes at lunch, then go and have your lunch for an hour.
But it is also 2026 and you can just jump on a Teams call.
That's what I mean.
Like if you really need to. If you really need to.
100%. So last question, obviously for a lot of teachers, you're listening now, you might have some inset days. This might be an inset day now and a lot of people are just finished early. Woo. If you're not, like I said earlier, hopefully this is helping. But we have a question here about summer holidays and this made me laugh. We're in the territory again where every single year there are news outlets talking about whether or not the summer holidays should be 6 weeks long or maybe they should be shortened to help with childcare. I'm not going to say anything else other than, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, God. It's a bit exhausting, isn't it? Like, it is exhausting as a teacher and someone in the education world just to hear the same old rhetoric and just like, it's like, with how many times do we need to talk about the same thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I think it's completely fine. I actually, do you know what? Being completely fair, I don't think it would be the end of the world if we all unanimously came to a decision, or at least enough people came to a decision that it would just be better for X, Y, and Z reasons if we reshuffled the year around and summer was now 5 weeks, but you get an extra week over here in the year. And ultimately, it's the same. We give them the same provision to the kids, but we just think it's better for whatever reason. Yeah. I wouldn't be throwing my toys out of the pram for that. What annoys me and triggers me is realistically the baiting. What this is actually baiting is people commenting saying, yeah, lazy teachers getting 6 weeks holiday to do nothing when we all have to go to work. Yeah. I think we should shorten it. And it's almost just there's no educational discourse on this. There's no talking about children. It's just screw teachers. We hate them. Let's jump on that bandwagon once again with this other thing we can use to bash teachers because they're so rubbish. That's what annoys me about this conversation. There's probably something legitimate behind it, but no one's ever having that conversation. So I don't want to engage with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like you said, it's just people saying there's a bunch of people who are just frothing at the mouth waiting to say we should have less holiday. And they're not saying it should be moved. They're just saying, kids should be in school longer. Can we think about the kids as well? We just think about how actually they need that time just to reset and have a summer and a childhood. I remember my summer holidays so well, and they were bloody good. And if we have an issue in this society with work and childcare, can we stop pointing at the schools as the way to solve this, and they should be doing more for us, and maybe start pointing at other things? Maybe start pointing at your workplace, which it maybe isn't the most conducive setting for you starting a family. Maybe we should be putting some legislation in place there when actually there is more help for parents. The birth rate's incredibly low, Hayden. I wonder why, when things like this are happening, we need to put more stuff in place to help them.
Do you know what we should do to help the birth rate and the fact that teachers are quitting in droves and we're struggling to recruit teachers? We should just make education worse.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll solve them both.
It's insane because it winds me up. It winds me up completely because at the end of the day, I think the long break is good for the summer. It's hot. Go and do some fun things. And absolutely, we said a million times, school's not childcare, school's not childcare, school's not childcare, but it's being treated like it is. So if we just sit there and go, well, school's not childcare, and then don't engage in any conversation afterwards, we're also not being very helpful, right? Because at the end of the day, like I've said a million times before, it is childcare. Of course it is. And it's being treated like childcare and acts like childcare. On paper, it's not, and we're there to provide an education, which is what leads into my next point. If there is an issue with childcare in the summer holiday, it is therefore not the problem of the school. The school is there to provide an education for the child. If there is an issue with childcare in the summer holiday, it's a problem for the workplaces and the government. They need to provide more childcare opportunities, put some more funding into some clubs, put some more funding into summer clubs, put some more funding into discounting rates for them to go to like a football school for the week. Help parents with childcare, nothing to do with the school. Stop treating school like childcare and an extension of childcare and just saying it's okay, teachers can just teach them more. No, we can't. Because if you want us to work more, newsflash, you're going to have to pay us more. And you won't be doing that either. So don't give me all this. You get 13 weeks off a year. You should do more. It's a false dichotomy. You can't both in one breath tell us how much time off we get and how lucky we are, and then go on to say, therefore, we should be doing loads of work in that time off. It's no longer a perk then, is it? If you're saying how much work we should be doing in it. It's just absolutely crazy. There is a very simple formula, right? If you work for 195 days a year as a teacher, which you are contracted to do, if you want me to do an extra 10 days of work, an extra 2 weeks, guess what? You're going to have to pay me for it. It's as simple as that. Of course. It is as simple as that. So we have a childcare problem, and therefore we should make summer holidays shorter. Cool. Not my problem. Not the school's problem. And you don't just expect it for free from a professional. It's absolutely...
With the all-new Dynasty Blueprint in EA Sports College Football 27, you can build your program by earning Dynasty points to spend on NIL, staff, and more. But the fun doesn't end at graduation. With the EA Sports MVP Bundle, get College Football 27, Madden NFL 27, plus Deluxe Edition rewards in both games. Make your rise with the MVP Bundle, available now at EA.com. Rated E for everyone with mild lyrics, easier to interact, and in-game purchases. Includes random items. Conditions and restrictions apply. See the link for more info.
Now playing on Netflix, The Hawk. From the mind of Will Ferrell.
Oh, mama, I'm back.
Comes a new original series.
Get ready. That's it. Did I stutter?
When an iconic pro golfer...
Lonnie, Hawk!
...takes one last swing at greatness.
You were a big shot golfer.
I still am a big shot golfer.
No one...
Dad, I'm the Hawk now.
...will stand in his way.
That's how it's done.
The Hawk. Now playing only on Netflix.
Insane.
And you know what? Even if it was paid, I still think you would see even more teachers quitting.
Of course you would.
Because you are ultimately reducing one of the only perks.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've said it till the cows come home. Teaching's a hard job.
Yeah.
There's a reason all these people in the comments aren't jumping to go and get a teacher's job and live off their amazing salary and the holidays, because it is actually a tough job. And I think a lot of teachers will probably be like, that's just a step too fast for me. I know I'm going to get paid for the extra 2 weeks, but Christ, like the 6 weeks is what gets me through, because at least I know I get this lovely perk where I get to have a bit of time off. But I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
I'm with you though.
It annoys me.
I'm exhausted by now.
Yeah.
Because it's always this time of year, and it's always driven by people who aren't in school.
And it doesn't even matter what was said the previous year or the previous year or the previous year. It's like there's no point having the conversation.
Like, oh, I've already said this.
Yeah. We could have the best conversation about this year, right? Yeah. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's the most like transformational conversation we've ever had about this. And next year it wouldn't matter because we did the same headlines would come up because no one cares.
Next week it wouldn't matter.
No one
in the
really
moment
cares.
of explaining it to someone, it wouldn't matter. How many times have we done a video where we explain something for 2 minutes and someone goes, what about this thing, which was explained in the video?
Yeah.
It's not worth your time with those people. Yep. They've already decided what they want. Insane.
No.
So before we go, are you going to be running against Nigel Farage in that by-election?
I don't think anyone
else is.
Apparently.
Yeah,
so yes, I will.
Aren't you Camp Binface? Aren't you Camp Binface?
Mr. Binface himself, yeah.
Do you know what? It could be Camp Binface versus Farage, the way it's going. Just
would
like
be
one-on-one.
funny. Would be quite. It would actually add to the mockery of it.
Yeah,
in a way.
I'm
like
exactly.
That's the outcome I would like.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be one of the parties sneaks in. Like imagine the Greens are like, oh, no one else is doing it. Let's just take it.
No, it looks like it won't happen. But again, we're recording this well ahead of time.
Yeah.
A lot of things have happened by now to the point where we don't even put this in.
I don't even want to. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into a rant about Nigel Farage. No, save that for another time.
Yeah.
Enjoy your summer, guys. Enjoy your summer holidays whilst you can, because it's getting shortened to 4 weeks soon, as we've seen from these Sun articles. As it bloody should do, because you don't do any work over it.
Wokey,
we all
beta, teacher, lazy buggers.
Yeah, or bastards, you could even say. Bastards.
Either.
Enjoy doing absolutely no work for the 6 weeks, because we know that's what teachers do, particularly new teachers or any teacher moving classroom or moving school. We know you will do absolutely nothing because you don't need a curriculum to go back to next year. So enjoy the full 6 weeks.
Sat on your ass.
And also enjoy 1 week of it, because we'll see you here.
And the full 6 weeks, which actually no one actually ever gets full 6 weeks. It's always 6. It's always 5 weeks in like 3 days or something like that.
Yeah. Have no fear. Chosen Foods is here to defend your favorite foods from the forces of seedy oils and sketchy ingredients. With cooking oils, salad dressings, and mayo, all powered by the good fats from 100% pure avocado oil and simple, delicious ingredients. Chosen Foods.
See ya.